On March 1, 2021, the Chinese Communist Party's coronavirus expert Zhou Nanshan claimed that China will vaccinate 40% of its population against COVID-19 by the end of July. The CCP also pledges to send 500,000 doses of vaccines to 45 countries. These ambitious moves might cause harm to the recipients of the vaccine. Some Chinese without any history of allergies were reported to develop fever and skin rashes after the vaccination. Here are 2 questions you need to ask about the CCP's COVID vaccine. There are 2 brands of CCP COVID vaccines from Sinopharm Group and Sinovac Biotech, respectively. Both vaccines are inactivated vaccines, which are made of dead viruses. Dr. Li Mengyan, the first in the world to expose the truth of the origin of the CCP virus, predicted last year that China cannot develop effective coronavirus vaccines. China has never successfully developed a single usable vaccine. They just duplicate USA vaccines technologies, said Dr. Yan. Based on the CCP's historical data on vaccine development, Dr. Yan is undoubtedly correct. Sinopharm's phase 3 trials in UAE claims their vaccine has 86% efficacy against COVID-19 infection. However, the vaccine's instruction lists 73 side effects. Common side effects include fever, fatigue, muscle pain, joint pain, cough, difficulty in breathing, nausea, diarrhea, and itchy skin. Rare but strange side effects include toothache, stomach inflation, eye pain, blurred vision, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, urinary incontinence, and delayed menstruation. In China, criticisms against Sinopharm's vaccine were censored. On January 6, 2021, China's vaccine expert Tao Lina called Sinopharm vaccine the least safe vaccine in the world. A day later, Mr. Tao was forced to delete his comment on social media, and he received his second dose of Sinopharm vaccine on January 9th, probably against his will. Sinovac's trial in Brazil suggested a 50.4% efficacy rate against COVID-19. This rate barely meets the 50% cutoff for regulatory approval. In January 2021, RFA reported that several senior managers of the Shanghai airline company experienced dizziness, drowsiness, and loss of mobility after receiving Sinovac's vaccine. On the 28th of February, a 63-year-old man in Hong Kong died 2 days after receiving the Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine. Moreover, even if the CCP scientists developed a usable vaccine, the CCP cannot produce or distribute vaccines effectively. Fake, expired, and spoiled vaccines are common in China. In fact, since 2004, China had 13 major vaccine incidents that led to deaths, permanent disability, and severe side effects. The latest incident involved fake COVID-19 vaccines made of saline water and mineral water. By February 10, 2021, the Chinese government had arrested 70 suspects and seized 58,000 doses of fake COVID-19 vaccine, some of which were smuggled to Hong Kong and other countries. The vaccine industry is lucrative. Assuming 1 dose per person, the CCP needs to produce 1.1 billion doses to meet its goal of vaccinating 40% of China's population by the end of July, and its goal of exporting 500 million doses to 45 countries. If we assume $20 per dose, it's a $22 billion revenue to be shared by the Sinopharm and Sinovac. The CCP will definitely not let this lucrative business get into common people's hands. What else will vaccines be used for? The communists are trying to use vaccines to reinforce their diplomacy. It sells vaccines to the world after manufacturing the virus. Miles Guo, the founder of the whistleblower movement, explained this on March 23, 2020, when COVID just broke out.
我现在请问战友，共产党如果不是你放出的生化病毒，为什么我拿到你那个文件？你说6月份要和美国、西方和欧洲国家和日本这些国家重新谈贸易谈判，在这个文件当中，你明确的说，我们到那时候要一手拿疫苗，括弧一手拿疫苗，一手拿医疗设备，重新和美国、日本、欧洲重新谈判。
Today, the Western countries have developed their own COVID vaccines. However, the CCP can still use the vaccines to bargain with the developing countries. The FDA has approved 3 COVID vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. According to statistic data, over 181 million people have received at least 1 dose of COVID vaccine. Right now, many Western governments are pushing to speed up the vaccination pace. People might think that COVID-19 vaccines developed by Western companies are more reliable than the CCP vaccines. Unfortunately, similar to SARS virus, COVID has been reported to cause the antibody-dependent enhancement effect, also called the ADE effect. The antibodies that patients develop during initial COVID infection may only last for a short time and could actually enhance viral infection and reproduction upon the second infection of COVID, leading to more severe symptoms or even deaths. Considering that it may take scientists years to fully understand the mechanism of the ADE effect of COVID vaccines, hydroxychloroquine remains a cost-effective and low-risk drug for COVID treatment and prevention. The CCP invented vaccines are questionable and could trigger many side effects. The reason of the regime to propagandize its vaccines is that it wants to maintain its vaccine diplomacy to influence geopolitics and make profits. There are still countless unknowns about this novel virus, hence we should be cautious in distributing the CCP vaccines. The world needs a thorough independent investigation on this virus and its origin, and hold the CCP accountable for creating and releasing such virus intentionally, because only so we will find the real cure to this pandemic.